When I became a manager about 12 years ago, I'm going to tell you, I went into it thinking, I got to know everything. I got to be the smartest person in the room. I got to have all the answers. I got to be somebody that my team can depend on and rely on and be there for them. And unfortunately, what I learned is you don't start out as a great manager. You really suck a couple of times. The first time I ever terminated somebody, I think I cried more than they did. It was absolutely horrible. It was the worst experience of my entire life. And when I wrote people up for the first time, that was so challenging for me to give any kind of criticism, because one of my failings is that I'm a people pleaser and I have to make sure everybody's happy. And one of the things that I learned as a manager, you're not always going to make everybody happy. And you have to be okay with the fact that you're not always going to make everybody happy. So it was a lot of trial and error and a lot of education and a lot of training. And one of the things that I have learned through my 12 years now of management experience and 15 years of human resources experience is there is one constant throughout all of it that you have to constantly try to improve on, and that's communication. And unfortunately, communication today is still the number one issues for every single organization. Because if you have successful communication strategies within your organization, then the odds are you'll be successful. But if you have poor communication in your industry, then your company may not last. It may start to fall apart. Communication can make or break everything. And when it comes to management styles, we all think that we'll just fall into it and figure it out. And if any of you have had to learn that way, you know that it's not the best way to learn, that it's a lot of pressure points and a lot of struggles. And why not have somebody that can help you walk through it or help train you or lead you by their experiences, the situations that they've gone through? Because as managers, you're going to have uncomfortable conversations. You're going to have a ton of uncomfortable conversations. I have had uncomfortable conversations when you have somebody that you're having to tell them, hey, you don't smell so great, because everybody in your organization is complaining about their BO. That is the most embarrassing conversation to have. For one, it makes you feel awkward. It makes them feel awkward. Half the time they don't even realize how bad they smelled, and it's just very difficult to have that conversation. And then you have situations where maybe you have an employee that's currently struggling with domestic violence and they're going home every day and having to deal with that. But at work, their performance is failing. They're starting to do worse and worse and worse. And you're having to have a difficult conversation with them because you know what's going on. But you also know at the end of the day, you have to have team members that are willing to put in the effort. And then the worst conversation of all is trying to make sure somebody is willing to live. When you have to have a conversation because somebody is struggling with suicidal tendencies, that is the most difficult conversation to have. And unfortunately, these are conversations that I've had to have both internally and externally, and conversations that you have most likely had to have. And they're not easy. They're a huge struggle point. But you're not alone. You're not alone in this. We're a team. We're all trying to just be successful every single day. And I'm here to tell you one of the core values that My HR Pros has is continued growth. We strongly believe in growing as a team and as an individual. And we also want that growth for you. We want that growth for our clients, for your employees, for your managers. You don't have to just promote a manager and throw them to the wolves, so to speak, and hope that they figure all of this out and hope that they figure out how to have these challenging conversations. Let our team bring in our knowledge, our expertise, our experiences, and help your team through these pain points. I absolutely love to read. It's like a thing of mine that I have to do all the time, mostly because I have 3 kids and I only have so many TVs and they tend to take them all over, and I kind of have no other option but to read. But fortunately, I enjoy reading, and I love the occasional novel and the whole, little smut book, don't judge, but I also enjoy educational books, especially when it comes to leadership and communication, emotional intelligence, social intelligence. These things are things that we hear about all the time that we think, oh, I've read this book, I've watched this podcast, or listened to this podcast, forgive me, or watched this YouTube video, or any of the above. And we think, okay, now I'm an expert. I'm going to tell you, I have officially become John Maxwell certified, so now that I can teach leadership and communication and his strategies. And this man is in his late 70s, and I heard him say, you are never done learning. You are constantly growing. He loves reading leadership books. He loves reading communication books. And a thought occurred to me, I'm not ever going to be done learning. I'm going to constantly have to grow. But I also want to help your team grow. I want to help your team be better every single day. So I have put together a training process with my team so that we can help train my internal team, which I'm excited about being able to do this year and be able to train my team and help them grow even more than they have in the past to just continue. But I also want to provide that to our clients. I want to provide that to you. I want to make sure that you have the skills, knowledge, ability to be successful as a leader in your community. There's another book that I want to recommend to you to read, especially if you're a new manager stepping into this role for the first time. It's called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And it's by Marshall Goldsmith. And one of the things that he talks about is all these traits that we develop as employees that we really don't understand what kind of a negative impact they'll have until we become a manager. Have you ever had a manager that never thanked you for the work that you did, never gave you the appreciation that you felt like you deserved because you were doing all of this work and effort? Have you ever resented that manager because they didn't thank you for your time? Let me ask you, when was the last time you genuinely thanked your team? And I don't mean a thank you for bringing me this file or I appreciate you. I mean a genuine thank you of writing out all the ways that they matter to you, how they helped you in your organization, what they truly mean to you. In this book, he actually recommends writing thank you notes, making a list of like 20 people or something like that. So I decided to go ahead and give it a go. I didn't quite get to 20, but I did do several and I sent it out. And it impacted one of the individuals so much so that they brought a bouquet of flowers, put it on my desk. It was absolutely beautiful. But instead of just doing that and it ending there, I had one of the most challenging days of my life where I had to have a really difficult conversation and I had so many different pain points going on. I went home and I am one of those people that immediately takes a long hot shower and cries in that shower to get it all out, because sometimes we just need a good breakdown in our day-to-day lives. And I got out of that shower and my husband goes, "Hey, you have a letter in the mail." And I reach over and I open it and it's a thank you note from that person. And it was the most beautiful note. And they had no idea that I would have been getting it in the mail on the day that I needed it most. That note still sits on my nightstand. I still look at it. I still read it because I need to remember why I have these hard conversations, why I am constantly growing and improving and trying to be better, why I do what I do, why I love it. I want to help you get there too. It's not always going to be easy, but we can help each other out. Let us help you be better today than you were yesterday. And if you're one of those that's constantly saying, but I have all these fires, I have all this stuff going on, I don't have time for this, I hear what you're saying. Communication is important. I hear the message. I get that we need to start making these changes in the organization. I get that we need to start doing things to help our team be more successful, but I just don't have enough time. If that's the story that you're telling yourself, then you're going to be telling yourself that same story over and over and over again until you finally decide to change your story. You have to make the time. You have to take that pause. And as soon as you do, I'm going to just tell you, it is the most rewarding experience you can have. And I want to encourage you to change that story today. There's a quote, I don't know who says it, but they say, why wait for tomorrow what you can accomplish today or do today? Why wait for tomorrow? Let us help you through this process today.